Have you ever felt that no matter how hard you try, your relationships just aren't blossoming the way you want them to? What if I told you that a philosophy developed over 2,000 years ago might hold the secret to deeper, more meaningful connections in today's digital age? I'm talking about Stoicism, an ancient yet timeless wisdom that can transform the way we interact, understand, and connect with those around us. Imagine applying the principles of the philosophy that once guided great emperors and thinkers to your personal relationships. Stoicism teaches us that the foundation of any strong relationship is not grand gestures or constant agreement, but mutual respect, understanding, and the ability to control our perceptions and reactions. In a world where conflict and misunderstanding seem to arise at every turn, use Stoicism to discover the secrets to cultivating truly fulfilling relationships in our dynamic, often chaotic world. Get ready for the change in your relationship that you deserve. First, a Stoic approach to building strong relationships. When we think about Stoicism, we may conjure up images of strict philosophers detached from the world and their emotions. But in reality, Stoicism is about engaging with the world and others in a more meaningful and thoughtful way. Stoicism does not advocate suppressing emotions, but understanding them, managing them, and ensuring that they do not overwhelm our reason. In relationships, this means being more mindful of our reactions and responses. The idea is not to react with anger or jump to conclusions, but to step back, take a moment to reflect, and then engage in a constructive and caring way. Stoicism teaches us the value of empathy and understanding. Imagine you are arguing with a friend. Instead of immediately defending your point of view, you try to look at the situation from his perspective. You listen, you really listen to what he says, not just because not to answer, but to understand. This type of active listening and empathy can transform relationships, creating a deeper bond and mutual respect. Moreover, Stoicism helps us focus on what is within our control. In any relationship, we cannot control the other person's thoughts, feelings, or actions, but we can control our own. This means choosing kindness over hostility, patience over impatience, and understanding over judgment. This means focusing on being the best friend, partner, or family member we can be, regardless of the other person's behavior. But the thing is, building strong relationships isn't just about dealing with conflict or being a good listener. It is also about sharing joys, celebrating successes, and supporting each other in the face of challenges. Stoicism encourages us to appreciate the present moment and value time spent with others. It teaches us to be grateful for our relationships and to express that gratitude openly. The Stoic style of building strong relationships involves combining care and emotions. It's about engaging with others in a humane way, full of respect, care, and based on a deep understanding of yourself and your loved ones. By taking this approach, we can create deeper, longer-lasting bonds that will enrich our lives and the lives of those around us. So let's use the wisdom of Stoicism and cultivate relationships that will not only be powerful, but also deeply fulfilling and rewarding. Secondly, the power of perception and control. It's fascinating to think about how much our perceptions shape our reality, especially in our interactions with others. Stoicism offers a profound perspective on this, emphasizing that it is not the events themselves that disturb us, but our interpretation of these events. Therefore, in the context of relationships, this reflection is extremely powerful. Let's take a closer look at this. Imagine you are waiting for a friend who is late. You can view this situation in many ways. You may feel like he or she doesn't respect your time, which can lead to frustration or anger. You may also think that you may have experienced an unexpected delay and recall times when you were late yourself. This change in perception can lead to feelings of understanding and patience instead of irritation. This is where the Stoic concept of control comes into play. We often try to control things that are inherently beyond our control, such as other people's actions or thoughts. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, our own thoughts, perceptions, and reactions. By applying this to our relationships, we can create a more harmonious and less stressful environment for ourselves and the people we interact with. For example, when we have a misunderstanding or disagreement with someone, we may instinctively blame that person or situation. However, the Stoic approach would be to look within ourselves and consider how our perceptions and reactions contributed to the conflict. This will give us the strength to respond more constructively and compassionately in the future. But it's not just about dealing with negative situations. By focusing on the good qualities of others and the joyful moments we share, we can cultivate a more grateful and optimistic attitude. This does not mean ignoring problems or pretending that everything is perfect, but rather balancing our consciousness to appreciate the good while facing challenges. The Stoic practice of reframing our thoughts and focusing on our sphere of control can transform our relationships. It encourages us to be more understanding, less reactive, and more appreciative of the people in our lives. So the next time you feel upset or frustrated in a relationship, remember the power of perception and control. Ask yourself, is it in my power? Can I see it differently? Thanks to this, you will not only improve your relationships, but also find greater peace and satisfaction within yourself. Let's embrace this Stoic wisdom and see how it can positively impact our relationships with others. Third, Stoic values and relationships. Stoicism is not just about personal peace and resilience. It is deeply intertwined with how we interact with others. It promotes virtues such as wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. All of them can significantly enrich our relationships. First, wisdom. In the context of relationships, wisdom is not just about having knowledge or intelligence. In the context of relationships, wisdom is not just about having knowledge or intelligence. It's about understanding the nuances of human interactions, recognizing diversity of perspectives, and choosing actions that promote harmony and understanding. When we apply wisdom to our relationships, we seek to understand before we are understood, to empathize and respond rather than react. This approach can diffuse conflicts, deepen bonds, and foster mutual respect. Now, let's talk about courage. In relationships, courage does not necessarily mean great, heroic deeds. It's about having the courage to be vulnerable, express your true feelings, and face problems instead of avoiding them. It's also about having the courage to step aside when necessary, while respecting the boundaries of others and your own. This type of courage builds trust and confidence in your life, and authenticity in relationships, creating a safe space where true connection can blossom. Let's get to justice. Stoicism teaches us to treat others with honesty and compliance, recognizing our interconnectedness and the impact our actions have on others. In relationships, this means practicing empathy, taking into account other people's needs as much as your own, and striving for mutually beneficial and respectful interactions. It also means standing up for what is right and just, which may sometimes require difficult conversations or decisions. Finally, we have moderation, or self-control. In the realm of relationships, virtue is about balance and moderation. It's about expressing feelings appropriately, not giving in to impulsive reactions, and maintaining a healthy balance between giving and receiving. Practicing moderation helps us avoid the extremes of overdependence or detachment by building relationships that are both supportive and empowering. By integrating these Stoic values into our relationships, we not only support our personal growth, but also positively impact the lives of those around us. We create an environment where mutual respect, understanding, and genuine care are paramount, paving the way for deeper, more meaningful relationships. Therefore, let us remember these Stoic values in our daily interactions. Whether it's a conversation with a friend, a disagreement with a partner, or a collaboration with a colleague, applying wisdom, courage, justice, and moderation can transform our relationships for the better. Let us embrace these values not only as ideals, but as practical tools to nurture and enrich our relationships with others. Fourth, the role of emotions in relationships. Stoicism helps us navigate these waters with greater skill and compassion. First, it is crucial to realize that emotions themselves are not the problem. What matters is how we respond to them. In the context of relationships, This means accepting our feelings without letting them dictate our actions. For example, feeling angry is natural, but Stoicism teaches us to stop and think before reacting with anger. This space between feeling and action is where we have the strength to choose a response that is consistent with our values and nurtures our relationships, rather than one that could harm them. Moreover, Stoicism encourages us to examine hidden beliefs that trigger our emotions. Often, our emotional reactions result from a perceived threat for our values or expectations. By understanding these factors, we can address the root causes of our emotions, communicate our needs more effectively, and foster greater empathy in our relationships. Now let's consider empathy, a key emotional skill in any relationship. Stoicism's emphasis on understanding others' perspectives fits perfectly into the practice of empathy. By striving to understand the emotions and perspectives of those around us, we can respond with kindness and support, deepening connections and building mutual trust. Moreover, authentic expression of emotions is crucial for healthy relationships. Stoicism does not recommend hiding or suppressing feelings, but understanding them and sharing them in a constructive way. Open and honest communication about emotions can enhance intimacy and understanding, strengthening the bonds we share with others. Finally, remember that managing your emotions is an ongoing practice. Stoicism provides tools and perspectives that can help. However, like any skill, it requires practice and patience. As we become more skilled at managing our emotions and responding with intention, we find that our relationships become more resilient, compassionate, and fulfilling. Accepting the role of emotions in relationships through the prism of Stoicism allows us to build stronger, more understanding bonds with others. By recognizing our emotions, thinking before reacting, and communicating with empathy and honesty, we can strengthen the emotional depth and quality of our relationships. Let us continue these practices by building relationships that thrive on emotional intelligence and mutual respect. Fifth, the importance of communication and trust. In any relationship, whether romantic, family, or professional, communication and trust are the foundation on which everything else is built. Without them, even the strongest bonds can fall apart. Communication in the Stoic sense is not just a conversation. It's about making contact. It is sharing thoughts, feelings, and values in an honest, clear, and respectful way. Stoicism teaches us to listen, not just react, but understand. This means giving the other person your full attention, acknowledging their perspective, and responding thoughtfully. In a world where we are constantly distracted, this kind of focus, he says, can significantly strengthen our relationships. But communication is a two-way street. Open and authentic self-expression is equally important. This can be difficult, especially when discussing sensitive topics or resolving conflicts. Expressing our truth with tact and respect. In this way, we not only solve problems more effectively, but we also build deeper trust and bond. Now let's talk about trust. Trust is like a bridge connecting to people. And just like a physical bridge, it needs a solid foundation and constant maintenance. Stoicism offers valuable insights into building this foundation. It teaches us how to be reliable, consistent, and transparent in our actions and words. When we say we will do something, we do it. When we make a mistake, we admit it and fix it. These behaviors lay the foundation for trust, showing others that we are trustworthy and honorable. But trust also requires vulnerability. It involves opening up, sharing your inner thoughts and feelings, and trusting that the other person will treat you with care. It can be overwhelming, but Stoicism gives us the courage to face our fears and the wisdom to know when and how to share. By showing vulnerability, we encourage others to do the same, building a cycle of trust and openness that deepens our relationships. Moreover, trust is not only about believing in each other, it's faith in the relationship itself. It is the belief that together we can overcome challenges, resolve conflicts, and become stronger. This type of trust provides a sense of security and belonging, essential ingredients of any healthy relationship. Communication and trust are not just nice features of a relationship. They are essential. By applying the principles of Stoicism, we can improve our ability to communicate clearly and empathetically, build trust through honesty and sensitivity, and ultimately create relationships that are both sustainable and satisfying. Let us commit to practicing these principles in our daily interactions, cultivating relationships based on deep understanding and mutual respect. Sixth, because developments and fleeting connections are all too common, cultivating deep, meaningful relationships can seem like a daunting task. Stoicism, however, offers timeless insights that can help us cultivate these deeper connections, enriching our lives and the lives of those around us. Above all, Stoicism teaches us the value of presence. In our fast-paced digital world, it's easy to be physically present to someone while our thoughts are far away. Stoicism reminds us of the importance of being fully present, both physically and mentally, in the company of others. This means actively listening, genuinely engaging in conversations, and showing that we value the time we spend together. Let's embrace these Stoic principles and invest in deep, meaningful connections that enrich our lives and the lives of those around us. In this journey of life, our relationships are our anchors, giving us joy, strength, and meaning. Remember, the art of building deep connections is a testimony to what we have in common: humanity, reflecting our capacity for empathy, understanding, and love. I encourage you to bring the wisdom of Stoicism to your relationships, cultivating bonds that will not only survive, but also flourish. Thank you for being with me at Stoic Journal. Your presence and commitment make this community so special. As we explore the depths of Stoicism together, I invite you to watch one of the suggested films on screen to deepen your understanding and application of the principles of Stoicism in your life.